the characters and inviting the viewers to become more immersed in the act of storytelling.
The performer you'll see tonight is Alex Ciprian. Alex is double majoring in communications and liberal studies. This is her first semester on the team, and she is a brown belt in judo and is also heavily involved in Mecha, which is a student group on the school campus. So please join us in welcoming Alex with her Prose.
I was born in Chile and raised in Canada. In 1986, when I was 18 years old, I went back to South America for 4 years to join the underground resistance movement against the Pinochet dictatorship. Pinochet was an ultra-right winger who installed a fascist regime and a neoliberal economy with all the austerity measures that come with it. My resistance activities involved running a safe house in a small Argentinian city that bordered Chile. My husband and I would hide resistance members in our house, and we would deliver goods to Chile on small buses and planes that we would learn to fly. The dreaded secret police forces of various South American nations worked together to capture resistance members. I spent those 4 years in a state of absolute terror. My generation refers to this as the generation of terror amongst our resistance members because many of us were not arrested, not tortured, not murdered, but the paranoia was intense to the point where you really started to think, am I making this up? I've got to be making this up. Living under a dictatorship will mess with your brain that way. Sure, Big Brother is watching, but is he really? I mean, if he was really always watching, wouldn't I be 6 feet underground by now with all my underground listed activity? It is often said that people are the sum of their past experiences. If true, this would mean that our memories are more important than our self-concept. According to Psychology Today, posted on May 23, 2016, Dr. Nathan Lentz says that our memories are not perfect reconstructions of the past. Declarative memory is a broad term that is used to describe the conscious recollection of memories, such as specific events and the people you were with at the time of that event. During a time of trauma, declarative memory can be compromised due to chemical imbalances that occur in the brain, oftentimes creating scenarios that did not happen. In this piece, Carmen Aguirre puts this to the test when she is forced to wonder whether her memories of the past are a fact or fiction. Sometimes it's not our memories we should trust, it's our gut instinct by Carmen Aguirre. It was in the late 80s when we received a memo. Now, memos came in the form of a roll of film delivered to a post office box that you had rented under an assumed identity. You would take the roll of film home and develop it yourself in this back room, in a dark closet, which is a secret dark room. The photographs were of documents in tiny print that you had to study with a magnifying glass and then promptly burn, then flush. This particular memo was quite disturbing because it told us to watch our thoughts, to watch our paranoia. What just happened was that an elder resistance member had turned himself into the secret police. He had been walking around downtown Santiago in a briefcase full of top secret documents containing meeting points, tactics, addresses, strategies, and he was convinced that he was being followed and that an ambush was imminent. He turned himself into the secret police, briefcase and all. The sad part was that he was not being followed, but 17 years in the underground, plus the disappearance of his children, had finally broken him. He had given himself away and so many others whose details were in that briefcase. I thought back to a few years earlier when I got my first paycheck teaching English as a foreign language, which was my facade. We were so happy that we could finally eat something other than crackers and cheese. My husband and I filled our shopping carts to the brim with all kinds of delicacies. Dulce de leche, rose hip jam, cans of tomato sauce, packages of cheese. I was looking at the ingredients of some breaded soya cutlets when my eyes met the steady gaze of a middle-aged man in a beige polyester pinstripe suit, holding onto an empty shopping cart halfway down the aisle. He half smiled at me, and he smuggled. Every hair on my body stood on end. I was numb with fear. He was one of them. He was one of the dreaded secret police. How did I know this? Gut instinct. I just knew. I whispered to my husband, and we continued slowly working our way up and down the aisles, acting normal, filling our shopping carts as we'd been trained to do by our superiors over a 2-year-long training period. The man always keeping a half an aisle between us. Our minds scrambled. It was a Saturday afternoon, and the supermarket was packed. We looked outside, and amongst the pedestrians and the traffic, we saw an idling Peugeot 504 at the entrance with 3 men inside of it. They were in 2 antennae. One in the front, and one in the back. Secret police car. This is it. They were screwed. But on our way into the supermarket, we had surveyed our surroundings as per our training, and we noticed that right next door there was a telephone company with mirrored windows, the kind where you can look out, but people can't look in. We slowly made our way to the checkout counter. The man lined up just down the way, and we loaded our groceries. And when it was our turn to pay, we slipped out quickly instead and lost ourselves inside the crowd and ducked right into the telephone company. A moment later, the man came running out, looking everywhere, his hand reaching into his jacket pocket, looking for his gun. He ended up diving into the wait car, and they took off at lightning speed as we watched from right behind the counter at the telephone company. I was overwhelmed with fear. We spent the rest of the afternoon zigzagging on different bus routes, trying to lose the possible tail. In 1990, the dictatorship ended, though Pinochet's neoliberal economy remains intact in Chile. We saw this as a huge loss. The resistance disbanded. I ended up getting divorced and moving back to Canada. But the question always remained. What had I imagined was real? 25 years later, I was writing a memoir about these experiences, so I went back to Buenos Aires to ask my ex-husband a few questions. We met at a restaurant, and I asked him if he remembered the supermarket incident. He said he did. My heart sank. Had I invented this scenario and so many others like it? Was I just like the man with the briefcase? I went into great detail about the supermarket incident, and he said he had no idea what I was talking about. I was confused. He remembered everything. Everything that we had gone through, everything that we had done, just no incident of ever being followed. I was ashamed. A few days later, I saw a photograph in the newspaper. It was a picture of a man from the supermarket. 25 years had passed, but I knew it was him. I read the story. The man in the photograph was a Chilean secret police operative operating in Argentina in the 70s and 80s. He had just been stabbed to death by his 21-year-old lover. When the Argentinian police went into his apartment, they found a stack of boxes at the back of his closet. Inside these boxes were filed with all the details of the activities, including names of Chilean resistance members he had followed, tortured, and murdered. Still, how could I be sure that this was the man from the supermarket? How could I recognize a face a quarter of a century later? I went back to Canada, and a few months later, a fellow resistance member sent me an email with the subject title, "This will interest you." Somebody had taken it upon themselves to transcribe the contents of the files, and now the document was being sent to those of us who had lived in Argentina in the 70s and 80s. I poured through this document, which was literally hundreds of pages long, and I finally came upon a short paragraph describing a following in a 1986 supermarket in the city that we had lived in. It described a young couple in their late teens. The girl was Chilean exile, raised back in Canada, came back to Argentina to join the resistance. Their trail had been lost that day. The paragraph said what the intention had been: to pick this couple up, throw them in the back of the car, torture them, then murder them and dispose of their bodies. I read this paragraph with my hand over my mouth, horror seizing me, but also a sense of relief. Relief that I was not crazy, that I could trust my instinct, my memory, my life. Many of my fellow resistance members have died young from all the stress, from the terror, the paranoia, and from not having the answer to so many questions. And one of the things that has helped save me is the gift of being able to witness the evidence of my own experience, to reclaim it, to own it, to speak it.